The corridors of the inner palace were hushed that night, lantern light flickering against the painted walls. Though the banquet had ended hours ago, the air was heavy with something left unsaid. The attempted poisoning weighed silently over the court like a storm cloud. Maomao, carrying a small tray of unused herbs back to her quarters, felt the stillness more than most. Each rustle of silk from passing servants, each echo of footsteps sounded sharper to her ears. The palace seemed to breathe beautiful, but alive with secrets. As she walked, a whisper drifted from around a corner. Not the idle chatter of maids, but something hushed, cautious. Her instincts urged her to pause. Pressing herself lightly against the wall, she tilted her head just enough to catch the words. Too soon. The banquet was not the right time. We risk exposure. A second voice, lower and steadier, replied, "It was necessary. The emperor must see that even his beloved women are not untouchable. Fear keeps balance." Maomao's pulse quickened. She could not see the speakers, but the weight of their words told her everything. The poisoning was deliberate, calculated, not a mere accident of jealousy or rivalry. This was a game played by someone far higher than a concubine. She backed away silently, her shoes barely brushing the polished floor. One wrong step and she could be discovered. When she finally returned to her room, her heart still beat like a war drum. Sitting at her low wooden desk, Maomao lit a single lamp. The flame painted her face in golden shadow as she spread herbs before her. She needed to think. Who would dare such an attempt? Which faction sought to unsettle the emperor? It wasn't about killing one woman, it was about sending a message, creating instability. She bit her lip. To speak of what she overheard would be dangerous. Without proof, she risked not only her life, but also Jinshi's trust and her judgment. Still, silence gnawed at her conscience. Her thoughts were interrupted when the door slid open. A tall figure stood framed in the light of the corridor. Jinshi himself. "You're still awake," he said softly. His voice held none of the commanding tone he used in public. Here, it was warmer, more human. Maomao rose, bowing lightly. "I was reviewing some herbs." He stepped closer, his eyes sweeping across the scattered plants and her pensive expression. "No, you were thinking, and I know that look." For a moment, she hesitated. To confide in him meant sharing the dangerous truth she had overheard. Yet, as his gaze lingered, she realized she could not carry the weight alone. "There are whispers," she said at last, her voice steady, "of factions moving in the shadows." The banquet incident was no accident. It was a warning. Jinshi's expression darkened, though his voice remained calm. "You should not have heard that." "I didn't mean to," Maomao admitted. "But now that I have, I cannot pretend otherwise." A silence stretched between them, filled only by the soft crackle of the oil lamp. Then Jinshi placed a hand lightly against the desk, leaning closer. "Maomao, I have told you before. The deeper you step into this world, the more dangerous it becomes. I can shield you from much, but not from everything." She met his eyes without flinching. "If I must be cautious, then so be it. But I refuse to stay blind. My ears and eyes cannot unlearn what they already know." A faint smile tugged at his lips, half admiration, half frustration. "You are impossible." "And you like it that way," she shot back dryly. For a fleeting second, laughter softened the tension. Yet beneath it, both understood the truth. Maomao had crossed another invisible line. She was no longer just the apothecary girl tucked away with herbs. She was a player in the palace's hidden war. As Jinshi left, his shadow stretching long across her chamber, Maomao whispered to herself, "The poison was only the beginning, and I must be ready for what comes next." If you want to keep unraveling these secrets with Maomao, don't forget to like this video. And subscribe to the channel so you will never miss the next twist in the Apothecary Diaries.